Hi, my name is Eric Robert Mousseau. I live in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, about 5 miles south of Pittsburgh. It is 19 degrees on March 18th, 2014. And this is my application video for Fear Factor. Gotta have balance. When I was a kid, I was absolutely fearless. I had no concept whatsoever what fear was. And I never thought about the physical consequences of anything that I was doing. I always had to be doing something active, whether it was sports or out getting into trouble with my friends. I had to be doing something physical. I had to be doing something with my hands. And I was in and out of the hospital constantly. I had broken 8 bones in a 4-month period. And this spot right here is where my life changed and installed fear into me. 9 years ago, this place where I'm standing was a snow park called Snow Zone. It was a snowboard and tubing park. People could come on a weekend and bring their families and have a good time. And I was working here. I was a starter up at the top of the hill of the tubing park. And my job was basically to make sure, easiest job in the world, make sure only one person goes down the hill at a time, nobody goes down on their stomach, and everybody made down the hill okay. And it was a lot of fun, but one night, it was January 28th of 2005, and my life changed forever. It was a starter, and they come over the loudspeaker at the end of the night to let us know that the park was empty and we could all come down the hill and go home. Well, the only way we got up the hill was we sat in a tube, rode the lift up the hill, grabbed our tube at the end of the night, and rode the tube back down the hill. Well, they had these rubber mats almost that you would find behind a bar to keep your feet softer, and so your feet weren't hurting. And they had dozens of them in every single lane, so it would cause friction with the bottom of the tube that if you happen to pick up enough speed, you wouldn't go too far and go into the road. Well, at the end of the night, I guess one person who was working picked all the rubber mats up and we didn't see that. So when I came down the hill, I was going so fast, it had rained that day, and they had a backstop, almost like this big snow mound of a hill, like almost right where I'm standing. And if you happen to go past the rubber mats, this hill would stop you. But since all the rubber mats were up, I was coming down the hill and I flew right over the backstop they had, and I hit the guardrail to the road, face first. I was knocked unconscious immediately, and it installed fear in me, like it almost killed me. I was somebody who was working here had called my parents, told them what had happened, and they told somebody to take me to Jefferson Hospital, because that's the hospital that we wanted to go to and we trusted. That's the hospital I went to every time I got hurt when I was younger. You know, this was a routine thing for me. So one of the guys that drove me to Jefferson, and I don't remember anything about the car ride. Oh, let me back up a little bit. Once I hit the guardrail, I have no recollection of it, and I remember waking up and opening my eye, and I say eye for a reason, because my entire left side of my face was completely swollen and I couldn't open my left eye. I remember waking up and it was just like something out of a movie, where I opened my eye and there are 6 heads above me. And I remember I couldn't breathe, and somebody sat me up and blood just poured from my mouth. And I couldn't talk, like it hurt to talk, my jaw was broken. And then they had drove me to Jefferson, and I remember getting out of the car at Jefferson Hospital, and my parents were standing right there. They put me in a wheelchair, wheeled me inside, took me to a doctor, and he looked at me and looked at my parents and said, "There's nothing we can do for him. He is that bad." So we don't have the technology here to fix something like this catastrophic. So they said the only thing that we can do is put him on a life flight to Mercy Trauma, which is in downtown Pittsburgh. And I remember my mom looked at him and says, "Well, why are you still standing here?" So I remember them lifting me up, putting me on a gurney, wheeling me outside. I could hear the helicopter, but I don't remember getting in it. I blacked out, and the next thing I remember is waking up in Mercy Trauma, and I was either in a CAT scan or an MRI, and those things are, if you've never been in one, those things are really tight around you. There's like really close quarters and tight spaces. And I woke up in one of those, and my very first thought was I was in my coffin. I was freaking out. I couldn't move. I was beyond words at that point. And they injected me with something to calm me down. I guess I went into shock. And the next thing I remember after that, the next day, was waking up in a hospital bed, in a regular hospital bed, in a regular room, and my mother was sitting in a chair next to me with her head down on my bed, bawling her eyes out. About 6 hours after that, they put me right into surgery, and the way the surgeon had described it to me was, if you could take my cheekbone and my eye socket out and put them on a table, they would crumble like cornflakes. I broke my nose in 3 spots, cracked my jaw from my ear to my chin, shattered my cheekbone, shattered my eye socket, smashed the nerve that ran down the left side of my face. And to this day, I still have certain spots where I can't feel anything, like it's been permanent damage. I've had 3 reconstructive surgeries to help me look the way I look today. But this spot, I haven't been back here in 8 years, and this is really hard for me. I've told this story 100,000 times to people, but I've never told this story here. I've only been back here one other time, and it was a year to the day after this happened. I came back and I found the guy who drove me to Jefferson. I went up and I shook his hand and I thanked him. And he's the entire reason that I'm still alive today. And I haven't been back here since. But this spot changed my life, and it has installed so much fear into me, and I have now come to realize the physical consequences of everything that I do, and I second guess myself over everything physical. Like I try to stay as active as I can, but I'm not doing risky and dangerous stuff like I used to do. You know, ever since 10 years ago, I haven't broken a single bone, and like I said, it has made me second guess myself over everything. But I still want to prove to myself that I have what it takes to be that person again, to not second guess myself and push myself to the limit. I miss what that feels like, and this spot is the main reason why I want to be on this show. And I feel like the only thing that I do now that doesn't let me second guess myself over anything is my job. It constantly makes me think on my feet, and if something goes wrong, I have to be right there to figure out the problem, address it, and move on to the next step. But this spot here, and I can't stress this enough, how much this changed my life. Right now I'm behind the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Department in the heart of Bethel Park, where I grew up. We do fire hose testing and ladder testing for fire companies. We pressure test fire hose and weight test the ladders. Fire departments, according to FDA regulations and OSHA regulations, require that they have to have this done once a year, whether they do it themselves or hire a third-party service like us to come and do it for them. We do half of Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, and Virginia. This job really makes me think on my feet, because if we have a section of hose that fails, it has to be replaced with a good section to go back on the truck and have the right proper amount of footage that the fire department requests. So during the winter months, I work for a company here called South Hills Movers. It's another physical job. Like I said, I'm always being active and physical. I always have to do stuff with my hands. So that's what I do in the winter months. But this is my main full-time, like, this is where I want to be job. Welcome to downtown Pittsburgh, outside Heinz Field, home of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But me, I'm an Eagles fan living in Pittsburgh. And you know what that means? That means I'm a nobody. If you live here in Pittsburgh, you better be a Steelers fan. This is a town full of blue-collar, hard-working, beer-drinking people. And everybody's got their game face on. Alright, so I figure I'm going to have to do something like this, if not more disgusting, on the show, so I figured I might as well just buck up now and just get it over with. Come on. Come on.
Hang on a second.
Alright.
Let's take a look at that. Alright. Down the hatch.
Now or nothing.
Holy shit.
Oh, get back here. Ugh.
They don't like the cold ice cream.
Come here, you.
Wow. Impressive, impressive.
In conclusion to this video, I would like to thank Fear Factor and the producers for allowing me to have this chance. I feel so blessed that I've made it as far as I have in this application process. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. Have a good day and God bless.
Oh, it was great.